shit, man, this movie sounds amazing. I love a good horror flick, and everyone seems to think it's the best one this year. I better go and see this right now. Yeah, Midsommar can suck my unwaxed balls. This movie was a disappointing, disaffecting, disingenuous, directionless, diabolical disaster that goes on forever, meanders through its dull and simplistic plot with all the pace and elegance of a fat positivity activist trying to pole vault, and achieves absolutely nothing during its bloated runtime except to act as a commercial for the Swedish tourism industry. Man, this place looks nice to visit. Oh, fuck no. The movie kicks off in dramatic fashion by introducing us to our main character, Dani. She's an annoying, emotionally needy college student that her boyfriend Christian's planning to break up with, but then her annoying, emotionally needy sister kills her parents and commits suicide, so I guess he's stuck with her now. Flash forward 6 months and Dani's still sad and needy. Oh, get over it already. Anyway, Christian's planning to go on vacation to Sweden with his buddies. There's Josh, a geeky anthropology student, Pelle, a laid-back Swedish guy whose family they're planning to visit, and Mark, who is just kind of a prick. Anyway, Christian's going with them to get a much needed break from Dani's constant misery, but she totally doesn't take the hint and ends up going along with them. You know when you've got an awesome night planned with your mates and one of them half-heartedly invites his vegan, teetotal, left-wing activist girlfriend along, assuming she won't accept, but then she totally does, and you just know you can kiss goodbye to any prospect of fun. Yeah, well, it's basically that. So they're going with Pelle to visit his family in the backwoods of Sweden, where they're getting ready to celebrate the festival of Midsommar, and they hook up with a British couple that are also there to watch the ceremony. Everything seems perfect when they arrive. The people are friendly and welcoming, the farm looks like it came straight out of a postcard, and there's a chilled out vibe to the whole thing. Then some old people throw themselves off a cliff, and one of them gets his fucking face smashed in with a warhammer. Now this is probably the point at which normal people would realise that all is not well with this place, and that it would be a good idea to gather up your gear, make some polite excuses, and leave. But this is a fucking dumb horror movie, so naturally they decide to stay and watch the rest of the festival, except for the British couple who demand to leave and then mysteriously disappear. What could have happened to them, I wonder? Then a local girl takes a liking to Christian and makes him a pie made out of her own pubes and a drink made from... Oh my god, I think I'm gonna puke. Then Mark pisses on a sacred tree that makes the locals angry, and then he mysteriously disappears too. And still nobody seems to think this is odd. You know how all those old school slasher movies intentionally made their characters dumb and unlikable so you wouldn't feel bad when they got killed, but then it became a total cliche and people generally stopped doing it because it was obvious audience manipulation? Well, could someone please tell that to Ari Aster? He needs to hear it. Anyway, Christian tells Josh that he's decided to write his college thesis on this place, and that makes Josh angry because he's already doing the same thing. As if it matters. You're studying anthropology, guys. You'll be lucky to get a job in Burger King when this is all over. But then Josh asks one question too many, and he gets murdered by a retard wearing Mark's face. Whatever. So the stage is now set for our final epic finale. Killjoy Dani takes some weird drink and goes on a magic acid trip while she dances around the maypole, while Christian gets drugged and coerced into having sex with Pubic Pie Girl. Then Dani wins her maypole competition and walks in on Christian having sex, and she screams like she just saw him getting murdered or something. Then she turns into a flower pot and the village elders explain that a sacrifice is needed to bring their midsummer festival to an end. Dani can choose to sacrifice Christian or one of the villagers, and they have a long loving look at each other, and of course she realises he was coerced into cheating on her under the influence, and he totally wasn't responsible for his own actions, and he's generally a decent man, and so she forgives him. No, I'm just kidding. Christian has to pay for what he didn't do, so they put him inside a bear. Wait, what the fuck? And then they dump him in a not Wicker Man, and he burns to death in horrifying agony, and Danny smiles because she's empowered or liberated now or something. And that's it. That's the fucking nonsensical, insane plot of Midsommar as best as I can describe it. You know, movies like this are why I drink. It's quite simply a disaster on every level. It has absolutely nothing valuable to say about anything. Its characters are the usual vacuous shells that you feel absolutely nothing for, and its plot features absolutely no shocking surprises or smart revelations. And unlike most horror movies that are smart enough to keep moving along at a decent pace and wrap themselves up before you start to question how dumb they are, Midsommar feels like watching a fucking iceberg drift on the North Atlantic current. It's long, it's dull, and most of all, it's horribly pretentious. We're subjected to endless scenes of people sitting down to dinner, chanting in a language we don't understand, and doing rituals that are never explained or put into any kind of context. Character motivations are non-existent. Nobody's really trying to achieve anything in this film. Most horror movies at least give their characters a goal of some kind, like staying alive until they're rescued, or finding a way to defeat the entity that's killing them, and how they choose to approach that goal gives us an insight into their varying personalities, like the selfish guy who sells out his friends to save his own ass, or the timid coward who rises to the occasion and redeems himself, or the wannabe badass who finally meets his match. Giving your characters something to do, or an enemy to grapple with, allows you to expose who they really are beneath the facade. But Midsommar's characters have absolutely nothing. They walk around, they look at stuff, they talk to people, and then they die, and that's it. An interesting main character who goes on a powerful journey could perhaps have redeemed this film, but Danny is a complete wet rag. She's sad and distant and kind of unstable, and that's pretty much how she stays throughout the film. There's no redemption, no growth, no revelations. Remember how her sister killed herself at the start? Well, wouldn't it be interesting if that actually tied into the events of the story? Like her sister was connected to the cult in some way, or they murdered her to precipitate Danny's ultimate involvement in all this. Wouldn't it be good if that subplot actually had some kind of resolution? Ah, fuck it. And why does this movie act as if Christian somehow deserves what happened to him? Like his death is justified retribution for what he did? Because I'm pretty sure if you reversed the genders here and showed a previously faithful, patient and supportive woman being drugged and coerced into having sex that she didn't particularly want, then being condemned to burn to death by her jealous boyfriend, people would not be singing the praises of this movie in quite the same way. But oh well, I guess this is what empowered female characters look like now. Now, unlike this turd of a movie, I'm gonna keep this review short and to the point, because I honestly don't want to waste any more of my time talking about it than I absolutely have to. Midsommar is a boring, tedious, dumb and pretentious piece of cinematic excrement. Save yourself 2.5 hours and do something more productive with your time, like watching Swedish porn. And that's all I have for today. Go away now!